What's up, agents? Welcome back to the PTS and Red Horizon. We're going to check out one of my favorite LMG builds of all time, but now it's had some changes. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let's get straight into it, and I'm going to show you the build right off the rip. So the 3-piece Langmore was always my go-to with the Pestilence. We would get really high tick numbers, and yeah, it would be really good. So with all the changes that we have had to the brand sets, we've now had to change things around a little bit, because if you look at my Langmore, you can see 3-piece no longer gives us that huge amount of LMG damage, that 30% that it used to give us. It actually gives us weapon handling. I don't want any more weapon handling, so I'm going to take the reload speed and the LMG damage from my 2-piece Langmore. And don't worry, you do not have to do it in this order. I know the backpack is pretty hard to get because Langmore defaults as blue, but the chest piece is even harder to get because you've got to get glass cannon, crit chance and crit damage in that order so that you can roll the blue core attribute to red. But luckily enough, now they've made that even easier as well, because you can get yourself some Royal Works. So if you get yourself a Royal Works chest piece with crit chance, crit damage, you can change whatever talent you want on it. You don't have to run glass cannon. You could potentially run obliterate or something like that. And you're like, Tickle, why Royal Works? Well, they've give Royal Works a working over as well. As you can see here, 5% weapon handling with 24% LMG damage. Meaning now we get our 24% from our Langmore. We also get our 24% from our Royal Works. And we can throw in a Petrov for another 12%, which is, yeah, really nice. I'm not going to complain about it. Now, there is some other options here when it comes to the holster. And as you can see here, I've gone for the salvo. And I've gone for the salvo because of the extra rate of fire that you get. It's, again, really nice. But this is not the best piece to put in here if you're looking for them higher damage pestilence ticks. You're going to want to put something in here with weapon damage instead. Maybe something like a Walker Harris piece or something like that. I believe they have been pushed up to 6%, I think. I don't have one on me, but unless I've got one here maybe, because I was messing around with builds when I was making this. Yes, a Walker Harris. So you could put the 6% on here, and that would push the tick damage up even more. But to me, it's actually more about my actual burst DPS than it actually is about them ticks being higher. And therefore, I tested all of the different versions that you could possibly test, and the unit alloys comes out on. I will put all the variations I tested in the description down below, which will take you to my build calculator. And all you have to do is you can load them up A, B, C, and D. There's 4 to test. If you want to press import build, paste the link in here, and then select the slot you want to put it in, it will do the job for you. So for instance, if I wanted to load my Cheska one into D, you pop the link in there, press D, import build, and it imports your build into that slot. And then you don't have to fill any of this in. This is all spec'd very much to my build as well, which I'm going to show you on the screen in just a moment. But if we scroll down, you can see all the fancy colors, and to be honest, you can see how close they all actually are. So you don't necessarily have to run the different bits and bats that I'm running. If you've got them available, you can just run them. And for instance, here you can see actually the Cheska wins out when it comes to sustain damage. Fox's comes in a close second with just 0.8% difference. The Salvo is 2.1% less, and the Walker Harris is 2.6% less. But I favour burst DPS in all of my builds, and you can see here the Salvo comes in at the top. Cheska comes in with the 1% difference. Fox comes in at 1.8% difference, and Walker comes in a little bit less at 3.6% difference. But there is an argument to be had here that actually overall the Cheska version probably comes in better all around, and you never need to make any changes. So it's not quite as straightforward as just saying that. You could also check this out as well though. If you bump up the headshot damage, if you're an absolute headshot demon, you can see that Cheska actually wins out overall as well. If you're not so much of a Cheska demon, you can scroll down here and you can see that the Foxy starts to win out and the Salvo comes up at the top as well. So it all depends on your performance and how good you are at the game, and you can check your headshot percentage out at the end of each mission to kind of get the feel for it yourself. But the Chesko one is probably the safest all round. Salvo if you absolutely want the best burst DPS. And that's what I like about my calculator. You can kind of mess with these things. You'll see the exact numbers here that you get in the game, and then you can come down here as well. You can choose the difficulty that you're playing on, and it'll give you the, you know, you can see how close they all are here for the ramp up damage and the reloads. You know, that's the bit when it reloads. You know, you can see they're extremely close together. So anyway, that's enough talk about the calculator, and I'll put that in the link down below in the description so you can check it out. So Royal Works, we've got crit chance, crit damage, crit chance, crit damage, and crit damage in the mod slot. And it's just everything you expect everywhere. There's crit chance, crit damage, absolutely everywhere. And then the Salvo there at the bottom. And like I said before, I should probably have it here as well. Here is the Chesko one that you would do. You would just need to make some adjustments to your mods. And we'll do that now, why not? Take this crit chance one out. Put in the crit damage one. 57.7 and 153%. So there we go. That's what we'll be aiming for, and that's probably the best all round. Then you don't necessarily have to worry about how good your performance is. But what I'm going to do, I'm pretty convinced that although we've got no survivability in here, and it's not necessarily how I would definitely go into a legendary, but I'm pretty convinced that this will do a very, very, very good job for us. Now we're hiding a little bit all of the time, so that probably dictates that actually we probably should have changed the Walker Harris piece, because we're going to hide quite a lot and we want the ticks to do most of our damage. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go all in and see how we get on. Already I feel like we're doing pretty well. And those ticks are doing wonderful, wonderful damage for us. And to be honest, I don't really feel like I've sweated a little bit at all. We're hoping that the gunner ammo suffices. We probably should have been firing already by now, to be perfectly honest, but... I mean, that was really no sweat. So you can see if you put yourself in a group with this and you are running a healer, for instance, or, you know, someone that's going to buff your damage a little bit, you're probably going to do a really good job. Once them chunga ticks get on the other enemies, it's over. Chunga's having a hard time though, look at him, the poor lad. Yeah, and I feel like it's just kind of proved the point of how much damage this is doing. No survivability, and we didn't really have to break much of a sweat. Now, again, I wouldn't take this into escalation or something like that. I think glass cannon in escalation is probably a bit troublesome, but maybe an obliterate version, you know, if you've got yourself a good healer, you are going to do a lot of damage. Maybe take the blue screen instead. Sprayed a bit too much there. I feel like it's going to catch on. We'll save our decoy. Don't feel like we need it yet for the big chungamongers that come in a minute. How much they really hurt. Whoa. Is that gonna be enough to take that healing box out? Go on, do it, do it, do it. Yes. Be very surprised if we survive this. Very surprised. Please take notice of the decoy. They're absolutely just ignoring the decoy. And there we go. Like I said, I'm very surprised if we survived that. But yeah, the build's absolutely rock solid. Again, it is back to its glory days. And running this in heroic content, you're going to blast through it. I would potentially think about maybe swapping out the glass cannon talent if you're going to do anything a little bit harder, or building in some survivability. But if you want top tier pestilence gameplay, this is definitely where it's going to be at next season. Stats are coming in at 57.5 crit chance, 153% critical hit damage. I absolutely love it. But yeah, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Are you going to make this change to your high-end LMG build, or is high-end LMGs not something that you tend to bother with, or has this convinced you to give it a go? I'd love to see it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.